Hello everyone and welcome back to Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo. I am one more sheep yet again, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be continuing on and progressing through the ghost house of Illusion. And this ghost house is a particularly... Actually, saying this tricky is a complete lie. This is a really easy ghost house to deal with. Your biggest threat in this ghost house is particularly these... I forget the name of them. They're like the ghosts that aren't boos. They're sort of moving. You know, this guy is floating right to the left, sort of meandering on, minding his own business. Alright, I'm gonna go for a spot of crumpets, I think. Yes. That's the voice I'd picture those ghosts having. But basically, what you see is those ghosts, they'll just occasionally fly left, and they're the biggest threat you really have, really, because for the most part, the entirety of this ghost house is just a very straightforward run. I mean, this room you have loads of boo buddies popping in, and I love the faces they make. Look at that. Some of them are just making a face at you. Some of them are sort of like looking fat. I don't know. I love the boo buddies. They got so much character, you know. But I digress. Anyway, when you get to this P-switch in this room, what you're going to want to do is push this button and go through this doorway, and it will allow us to enter the exit. Now go left, and Bob is your uncle. Left in a platform game? Surely you jest. No, I don't jest. Anyway, there are two exits that we can actually go into. The first exit is... Well, we've gone past it. It was that doorway we went past, and this exit gives us a 3-up, and it's also technically classed as... I don't know if this one's classed as a secret or normal exit of the ghost house, but you can pop into this exit anyway and pop into the other one afterwards, and Bob is your uncle. Yep, this is a normal exit. What? We went backwards. That's why they call this the Forest of Illusion, folks. See, if you don't take the exact right exits, you're going to be pretty much stuck in this forest for the entire... You know, you're going to basically be stuck here. So you need to find the right exits and go through them. Fortunately though, one thing I have noticed about the exits in the Forest Illusion in particular, with the exception of maybe one of them, the exits are like the easiest exits to find out of all of the secret exits in the entire game. I wonder how many times I can say exit before I get fed up. Anyway, we've just exited the ghost house, so now let's head on to this stage by here. And it's another normal whatchamacallit, but you might notice Lakitu with his demonic red eyes there, sticking a 1-up mushroom at us. Now, what you can do, if you really want, is actually collect that 1-up mushroom. Now, be warned, if you collect that 1-up mushroom, Lakitu there will throw spiny shells at you. But if you're good enough, you can hijack his cloud and, Grand Theft Mario, bitches! Ho ho! Luigi life! Thug life! Ho ho! But you can actually nick his cloud and just fly around with it. So, whenever you do have his cloud, basically you press the D-pad up, down, left, and right to move in all the directions, and that's basically all she wrote. It's actually quite a useful power to have, and if you can get high enough to attack Lakitu, you know, it's a big benefit. What can I say? Although, it still terrifies me how Lakitu has, like, red demonic eyes in this version of the game. You got all these Lakitus that are in the pipes, and they have the standard green eyes, but then you get the guys that throw shit at you, and they're terrifying. I don't know what to say. They really freak me out. But I digress. That is it of that stage. Pretty short one, but, we're going back in, because we have more than half of the stage to go, folks. The secret exit's actually very, very close to the beginning of this level, so let's just continue moving on, and we should be fine. Although one thing that always bugs me is whenever you have, like, whenever you hit a P-switch and you hit a block, because the block becomes the type of blocks that the coin blocks turn into, and vice versa, basically you'll just have random floating coins everywhere, and it's awkward. I'm not a big fan of hitting the P-switch when I go for items and stuff, but it could just be me, you know? Anyway, that is the end of the stage. I thought it was a bit longer than that, actually. I was wrong. It's probably because I'm looking at my timeline now and I'm realizing there's no video edits for like a minute or two. But I digress. With that, we've actually entered another route to get all the way to the second official stage of the Forest Illusion, the water level. Which isn't that hard a water level, you know? This is more of like a maze sort of deal than you'd expect. And it's probably the hardest secret exit in the entire game, you know, folks? Although one good thing about this water level is that in order to progress through the Forest of Illusion, you don't need the secret exit in this one. I think it's the only Forest of Illusion stage where the secret exit actually doesn't send you forward. But I could be wrong, because I don't know which exit sends you to which direction in the Forest of Illusion. All I know is tons of secret exits, go to one of them, you know? But yeah, this stage, if you get the secret exit, it will lead you to a completely different way to the way you're going to want to go to exit this forest. I'm getting really sick and tired of saying exit. Jesus Christ.
First you got to go and exit this to exit that. Oh boy, you got to exit in order to exit.
But anyway, whenever you're in water levels, just like in previous Mario games, your best friend is the fire flower, because you can just shoot at enemies and they will go down pretty quickly, you know. The narcolepsy fish will go down without much of a fight. Probably because they're passed out, but you know, the narcolepsy fish is still there. Honestly, the narcolepsy fish I don't actually mind, but they can get, if you're unlucky enough, you can get into some tricky situations with them. Because they follow you across the screen. Every now and then you may have a couple of issues in, like, they'll pop out of nowhere and there'll be like a swarm of them just following you. And if there's no room to, you know, no room to run, you can't do anything about the narcolepsy fish, because and you just need to hope to God they fall asleep before they catch you, giving you some room to run away. Because, I don't know, sometimes that happens and the narcolepsy fish are quite awkward. But I digress, it's time for the final Switch Palace of the entire game, the Blue Switch Palace. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what you're going to need to do by here is actually something interesting. You're going to need to collect all of these coins first off, folks. And if you don't collect these coins, then you will not be able to pull this challenge off properly. So, grab all of these coins and hit the silver P-switch right after hitting the blue one. Or hit it first. Either way, hit the blue P-switch after or before hitting the silver one. And all the silver things will pop down from the ceiling. This will give us quite a few, well, 3 1-ups, basically. Now, the main issue with that is some of the enemies don't actually spawn in unless you head back left again, which is something that's really caught me off guard, so, can be quite awkward. Jesus Christ, Luigi looks like he's constipated.
Okie dokie. I watched this in a show called Dragon Ball Z. Let's see if I can become a super plumber. Kamehameha, ha!
Luigi doing a Kamehameha. I'd love to see that one day. But I digress anyway. It's just time to take down the real exit of this stage and progress further. Now, you might think it's a bit dickish level design how we had to go through a wall in order to enter that exit, but honestly, I think the wall is pretty... It sticks out enough, you know, because it doesn't look like it's part of the rest of the environment. So I think it sticks out enough for it to pique someone's interest for them to realize,
something isn't right over here. Okie dokie.
But I digress. It's time for another bonus stage. Damn it, I didn't get the star. At one point in this playthrough, I'm going to get all of these filled up with the same items, so I can't wait for that, because you get a crap ton of extra lives. I think you can get a maximum of 8 lives from this bonus game, folks. So, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, you can get a maximum of 8 lives. I just counted them now. But I digress. It's time to go to the Forest of Illusion 3, where we can actually finally take a major exit out of this forest. And this stage is quite unique. Our biggest threat in this stage is the fact we have all these bubbles to deal with. If you get hit by a bubble, all your momentum will stop. So if you touch a bubble whenever you're over a pit, you will fall into the pit and you will die. And I clearly clipped through that guy. Jesus Christ. I might love this game, but it's in no means perfect. Of course, there's no such thing as a perfect game, is there now, folks? But I digress. Anyway, whenever you, we're actually introduced to a new enemy types. These guys by here that look kind of like Goombas. I think we met them before in the playthrough, but I sort of just glossed over them and ignored their presence. These are Galoombas. And basically, they're a very awkward enemy type to deal with, because you can't just stomp on them like they're a normal Goomba. You have to kill them either by spin jumping on them, or spinning into them, or jumping on them normally, grabbing them and throwing them into other enemies and projectiles, you know. So Galoombas are quite interesting creatures, and we actually get... They're actually not that popular in the series. I don't think we see these guys again up until like Super Mario 3D World. So yeah, there's a whole long time away from seeing these mooks. I understand why, because they're more of an awkward enemy to deal with than, say, challenging. They're just a Goomba with an extra hit point, essentially. And with invincibility frames.
Well, I got 5 stars. That's all Luigi needs.
Oh, oh, but I digress. Now we are pretty much done and dusted with the Forest of Illusion. Although we do have one more exit left to grab in that stage, as you can probably tell by the fact there's a very long walkway heading all the way back to the ghost house. Now, we aren't exactly 100% done with this world because we have one last level, but I'll talk about that when we get to it. Anyway, when we start reaching this formation of blocks by here, make sure you have a super mushroom or something like that on your side. You need to have a super mushroom to get through this, and jump down this pipe. Jumping down this pipe, well, you see these yellow blocks, like I said before, you need to be Big Mario, Big Luigi in order to jump into this pipe, into these blocks to break them, otherwise they'll just ignore your presence. So, spin jump into them, break them open, grab the key, go in the lock, and we are ready to take on Roy! Not Roy, not Roy. So I'll catch you all next time, folks, when we take on Roy's castle on that one last level in the Forest of Illusion we sort of ignored. So thank you all for watching, people. Hope you all enjoyed. Don't be sheepish. I'll catch you all next time. Bye!